The Customs House in Hamilton, Ontario, was built in 1860 to handle the trade from the port and the new Great Railway Line. It is one of the city's oldest and most majestic buildings. It also happens to be one of its most haunted. Its oldest resident ghost is known as the Dark Lady.
I used to go to the Murray Street School back in the 1940s. This particular day it was really cold, so a couple of friends and I decided to go and eat our lunch in the stairwell at the Customs House. Something just caught my eye and I just happened to look up and I saw this lady. She was all dressed in old-fashioned clothes and she looked so sad and lonely and I just couldn't take my eyes off her for a while. But then she disappeared and I just rushed out screaming back to the school. I was really terrified. I've since talked to my friends and to this day they've never heard or seen this lady, but it was really, really terrifying at the time.
In its heyday, the Hamilton Customs House employed 17 men to collect the duty on goods brought in by longshoremen, sailors, railwaymen, and teamsters who came through there every day. More recently, it's been an army recruiting center, a macaroni factory, a flop house, a martial arts center. In 1995, it became the Workers' Heritage Center. But it's a museum with ghostly inhabitants.
The legend of the Dark Lady begins in England. A young girl who was living in a small community in the middle of England was raped, and she decided to move here to Canada. During her voyage aboard a ship, she met the captain of the vessel, and the two began a long love affair over the many weeks it took to get from England to Canada at that time. Now, for quite a while, no one knew about the love affair between the two until crew and passengers alike began to see this love affair taking place in the dark corners of the vessel. By the time they reached Hamilton, he knew that he had to put an end to any possibility of more rumors beginning due to the fact of his upstanding position as a captain of a ship and his family back home in England. So when they arrive at the customs house, he takes her down into the basement, strangles her to death, and takes her into a room now affectionately known as the vault, where he spends the rest of the day walling her body up. To this day, an image in dark clothing is seen roaming around these hallways and has been for well over 100 years.
The paranormal investigators from Haunted Hamilton have come to the Customs House hoping to make contact with, or at least document, the spirits people claim to have encountered.
You guys picking up anything yet?
Actually, you're standing in a sensitive spot. Okay, there's a woman running up and down these stairs. You see her?
Yeah, I can see her.
She's looking for a child, calling out for a child.
Is that the little boy that's been seen on the steps tonight?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
He sits on the stairs here peeking through.
And it said there's a step up there, and it's wheeled away the most, and that's where he's been spotted sitting there, with his head in his hands. Yeah. Several people have seen him up there.
And the temperature's going up too. It's 55, 5, 55, 6, 7, 8.
You here with us right now? Are you hiding from your mom? Looks like it.
Wow.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear that.
He wants to show us something upstairs in the attic.
His mother's not the same woman from his room, is she? The one who was abused in his room?
I don't think so.
No.
No, it was somebody who worked here, was a servant in this house.
History bears out the paranormal team's experience. A servant girl did indeed die in the house, in a particularly horrible way. She was decapitated. She had prepared a meal and was about to send it up in the building's dumbwaiter. She summoned the waiter down to the kitchen and waited. After what seemed like an unusually long time, she opened the hatch and poked her head in to see what was causing the delay. At that instant, an unknown person cut through the rope pulley and sent the elevator hurtling down, severing the kitchen maid's head.
I don't get hurt in here at all.
Really?
This is the pendulum board. The pendulum works the same way as the binding rods. You ask it yes, no sort of questions and watch it spin different ways to answer. With a pendulum board, you can get more defined answers. Is there really a dark lady in this house? Was she really buried in this room? No. You knew it. Maybe later we can go out with divining rods and see if we can figure out where exactly she is. Are we gonna find some activity upstairs? Should we go up to the attic?
All right, let's go.
Tale of Two Painters takes place in the second-floor hallway at the customs house. Two painters are painting one portion of a wall. And as one painter is painting, he sees in his wet paint the word murder slowly being spelled. In shock, he tries to cover that word up with more paint, but still it persists and seeps back through. He calls over his friend to see what he is seeing before his eyes. But by the time he does, that word, murder, had erased itself.
Yeah, I feel somebody's up around the corner. You see down the corner there? I think it's a lady. Yeah. 66, 7, 8. Anybody here? Give us a sign. Knock on the walls, knock on the floor, the staircase. You hear that? She's shaking her head no. She wouldn't come up here.
Why not?
She's got a veil. Says you might get hurt.
Is she gonna hurt us or somebody else?
Yes.
Guess what?
Pardon?
Yes, she's gonna hurt us or somebody else?
She is.
She's afraid of you. She thinks you're gonna send her away.
We're not going to send you away.
Another event that this construction crew endured involved screws. The carpenters needed more supplies, so they went downstairs in search of more screws. As they went into the room where they were kept, they looked about and could not find the boxes that they should be in. It wasn't until one of those men peered down to the floor that he found the screws. But it's not where the screws were found that is important. It's their position. For as the men gazed down upon the floor beneath them, they saw the screws spelling out words such as death, murder, kill, and so forth. One of many events that this construction crew would endure during their time here at the customs house.
Should we go see her mantle up in the attic?
You really want to?
Whoa.
What is that?
They're not in there. They're not in there.
No. Downstairs. They're upstairs still. Are they here? They better be here.
No.
You okay? But who pressed it?
If nobody pressed it, somebody would have had to actually been in there and push second floor for it to come here, right?
Yeah.
If those people down below were using it, it would have just stayed down there. Do you want to take the elevator up to the attic?
No.
Many events also take place to people whom just visit this customs house. Such as that of a woman. She came into the lobby, and on the main staircase she saw a girl seated, battered and bruised. She went over to the young girl to see what was wrong, but before she could make it there, that girl disappeared. That night she has a dream. She's back here at the customs house, except this time down in the basement. And she sees that same girl, standing alone in a room, bruised and beaten still. And then from behind her, a man begins to attack her. The woman, having this dream, intervenes. She is then tackled by the man, where she wakes up.
What's that smell? It smells like
Yeah, I got that too, actually. First thing you
my hand's actually tingling.
She still stands here looking in this mirror. Very vain. We could get her really riled up, see what she'll do. Does it bother you that we're here? See, we think you're all talk. We don't think you can actually do anything to hurt any one of us. You're that powerful. Take it. Jesus. Sorry. Well, I've never done an investigation where something fell on me when I asked it to, so I'm impressed.
We know nobody hit the button on the elevator, so that's interesting that it showed up at our floor.
This has been a lot more colorful. I mean, when I go on investigations, we do the same sort of routine, walking around asking for signs, sensing what's there. We've never had such obvious manifestations.
The Hamilton Customs House has suffered fire and flood and an assortment of tenants. But throughout its history, it has been home to the phantom spirits of its past.